Hello everyone and welcome to a review with me, Umber Rays. Today we are going to be looking at some of the FF7 remake content, but disclaimer at the start of this video, I'm going to be separating out some of the reviews as well as some of the talking topics over the next little bit over multiple videos. One, I haven't completely decided what I think about Cloud, and Rain and Laswell are also on the docket for being reviewed, and it's just a little too much to put in videos. So, while yes, making more videos and monetizing those videos is great for me, I understand if you are kind of like, well, can't you do it in multiple videos? And the answer is not this time. All right, but we are here to talk today, starting with Tifa, and I want to thank Wotv for getting the data up about these characters really quickly. It does make evaluation so much easier. But I have to say that so far, the initial impressions from Final Fantasy VII are really strong, and that also goes for this girl right here. Tifa is a unit that I have been waiting for a very long time. I mean, forget the fact that she's a Final Fantasy VII character, forget all of that. Details about all the connections you have with FF7. She is just a really good strike unit, and quite possibly the beginning of what is hopefully going to be a lot of good future for strike as a damage type. Now, I do think that something to consider is the fact that Tifa, while she is going to be very strong for right now, into the future she could fall off, being that she is an early strike unit, but it's a very small concern that I am not too entirely worried about. And while there is a good friend unit version out there, I did use it on live stream, so we're just going to be taking a look at my more basic version of Tifa. But even if only level 76, not even getting into EX yet, not even having a TMR equipped, and not even having a really good vision card equipped, I think that it does speak to how strong I think this character is in the very early days. So let's talk about it. So first of all, a very quick evaluation of Ninja as well as Paladin. First of all, Paladin, her tertiary job, does not have her Guts ability that is in her main class job. Paladin basically has the healing abilities that you would expect, Sentinel, Attract Blades, stuff like that, and honestly, I don't feel that it is very valuable at all. I mean, I think it's fine for an option for her, but I don't think it is super remarkable. Talking about her Ninja sub-job, does have the hide ability, decreased chance of being targeted, does have increased damage, just has a regular ninja damage attack, wind elemental 1, increase accuracy, and guarantee a critical hit for self, which might be an interesting ability to, pair with Cloud. Move to the target panel and 50% chance to inflict poison, which status effects are nice and sometimes be good, and increase evasion rate, which is, I think, one of the only tempting, really tempting abilities, since Tifa is kind of a very fast and dodgy type character. Yeah, let's continue on, and this is this thing that is really important here, her main job. Her main job is so strong, this is such a departure from the regular version of Monk, that I think it is just, it re-vitalizes the chat about strike damage and strike as a really good damage type, even without a Esper to support it. Or at least, a really high-end Esper to support it. Got my fingers crossed for one in the future. But damage abilities, first of all, one of her key abilities is her self buff. She can use it 2 times. It costs 26 TP. It generates AP really nicely. And it can be upgraded once she goes into EX. The upgraded version adds defense penetration as well. So basically, she gets a 40% attack boost to herself, an increase of defense penetration by 50, and last but not least, a 200% chance to inflict Explosive Fist, which is a higher damage dealing attack, All of this lasts for 3 turns. The fact that she can use this twice means that she has basically 6 really incredibly strong turns, and that is not even talking about the rest of her kit. She has a barrier breaker that also has a 200% or 210% modifier, a break that gets upgraded as well, that goes up to a 250% modifier, which is, you know, just really, really strong. Taking a look, she also has, and one of my favorite abilities in her entire kit is a movement ability that is just a really, really big AoE. I'm actually just going to go in here and... Oh, no, that's her 4-hit chaining ability. That's also really good. Not the one we're looking for. Large damage. Where is it? Actually, it might... Nope. Hold on. I'm going to get it. I'm going to find it. Not embarrassing. A little bit. God, I remember seeing it earlier. I just... Oh, no. Ah, yes, it is this one. I was right the first time. Sorry, that was just a really big blank moment because I remember it. And then I realized, oh, it gets upgraded with her EX. So as you can see, it's got a pretty big range on it already, but as it gets upgraded, the AoE actually becomes a full around her panel, meaning that she can deal damage to potentially 8 units if the units are positioned correctly. And it does have a pretty big modifier of 165% mod, but it also decreases accuracy to the targets who are hit by it by 25 for 3 turns, which does support the fact that she is an evasion character and supports other evasion characters too. I actually really love this ability. And from there, it just gets into her other abilities, her 4-hit elemental chain, and a really strong final ability that she gets at level 120, a 200% modifier 2-hit ability that has 3 uses, just a very strong cap that also can do a little bit more of chaining damage and get around the damage limit a little bit. So that's just really, really nice. But the reason why you're going to be wanting to run Tifa, and man, that just threw me through such a loop. But I'm not going to re-record because that's the dedication I have to doing this in one. To talk about the reason why you're going to be wanting to run Tifa as just a FF7R monk, in the subpart of monk for the FF7R, the remake version of it, it does have the 200% chance to ignore a fatal damage for self. This is a 1-use. It's just like Kane's ability. It is a really nice safeguard for Tifa against just getting hit or nuked directly down. She can still do damage. She can still potentially get out of it. So I really think that that is just very strong, and I'm kind of glad because he also gets another couple other abilities that can just deal some extra damage. Somersault with 170% modifier and 175% modifier. It's right up close, but does have an extra chance to stun. And this pairs incredibly well with the fact that her limit burst is just kind of nuts, where it's a 200% modifier, it has good range on it, it's 43 AP, but it has a 45% chance to inflict stun for 2 turns, and the double turn stun can be just potentially game breaking. It can, or team breaking, I should say, for the opponent's team if they are not, if you do this to a healer, if you do this to a tank. It is a really strong ability, and stun can be even used against bosses. 2 turns is a lot of time, depending on the enemy's speed as well, so you can leverage that quite nicely. And it does make Tifa just a very, very, very strong unit. Taking a look at her counters, well, she has the ninja counter, you know, counter damage and chance to cause poison. She has chance to reduce damage, which is off of Paladin, which I think is her probably the, a good alternative. But really, her monk ability, her monk counter is by far the best. Chance to counter all damage, maximum 20% chance to counter, with a increase of HP by 15% for self. Yes, she has a self-heal ability in her counter, but it gets better because Ultima actually lists this as being able to remove multiple different status effects, such as Frostbite. It is interesting because on the Wotv calc, it does list that it is actually all status ailments. She can clear all status ailments off of herself. It is one of the most powerful counters I have seen, period. And I think it is just really amazing on Tifa, and I think it's just very incredibly strong. From there, she has ninja support abilities, the agility up and luck up, as well as the move and jump. She has Paladin's defense increased by 12 and HP by 12%. And last but not least, her monk has a increased strike attack by 12 for self and increased acquired AP by a factor of 40. So in other words, she has strong AP generation. She can buff her own strike damage, which is what you're going to be wanting to do anyway, because you want to leverage that, because a lot of enemies are not just very strong against strike. She has really good agility or potential movement options. I really, really, really strongly like Tifa in her kit. She has, for all intents and purposes, incredible 2B synergy here, and I think that her kit is very well made and very, very strong. Now, that being said, there are a couple of things to note, but to wrap up talking about Tifa real quick, let's just talk about her TMR. So as you can see, 277 HP, 37 attack, 9 defense, and 12 critical does make for a strong accessory potentially on other units as well, but I do like its TMR skill. As you can see, it is a massive area around the unit that is using it. Increase attack by 40% for 3 turns to all allies. Ramza, buddy, you finally kind of got crapped on it. It's not magic too, but it's still a very strong effect. But it also increases strike attack by 30 for 3 turns for wind allies. This is interesting. It is very strong, and I do hope that there are going to be more wind strike units in the future. But it also does indicate that, well, yeah, it's not going to be benefiting other strike units. So that is a little worrisome, but since Lucia and 2B both have strike units, or strike abilities, it does kind of bode well to that being pretty strong. So there we go. Tifa's looking pretty darn good, I think, in a overall vision of her kit. We'll talk about resistances a little bit. Here are the base. She has some slash resistance and some shooting resistance, not a ton, or not really, positive or negative for strike as well as magic. And she does have a weakness to spears, meaning that, I guess Victoria would be a pretty natural big weakness for her, but I don't think it's really that scary, to say the least. I do think that most of the time you're just not going to see Victoria that much. So yeah, I don't think it is a concern for recommending. What I do think is a concern for recommending Tifa is talking about the vision card. This vision card is a very strong buff to wind elemental characters, and I just don't see a way around getting it. I think that having the 2B vision card as well as this vision card is good, and it should be noted that the evasion off of this card is not insanely crazy. You like the Tifa card, or sorry, the Shiva card. Sounds like Tifa, kind of. That vision card is does have higher evasion and is better support for evasion. So this is very much a wind strike vision card. And again, there are units to support getting this and using this, and Tifa definitely will benefit massively from this. But I don't like, and that does mean maxing a vision card too. So Tifa is, still an expensive unit per se, but I think what is here with this vision card is very, very strong and does support. But yeah, the vision card probably going to be needed. If you're curious about builds, Tetraselfide is potentially a good Esper to throw on there. However, I think that Marlborough is probably the perfect fit in the meantime, but I am hoping that we see another wind elemental summon that is physical based in the very near future, because I feel like it will benefit greatly. So we'll check out the Limit Burst here, because of course Limit Bursts are always really awesome, and I think Tifa's here looks just fantastic. The animations are really good, and since we don't actually see Dolphin Blow, I'm more okay now with her being a wind elemental character, and I don't know, I don't feel like there would be as much maybe good synergy as there is in wind, so I think she ended up in a good place. We just need a few other wind strike characters, and I think wind will be a really contentious element to deal with in the future, even if ice is. So my overall thoughts of Tifa and her vision card are by far strong and very, very positive. It's just another unit where you're getting the first copy and they are very good. That being said, there just isn't enough strike support yet, and I'm really hoping that it does show up in the future to make Tifa even stronger. Does need the vision card, but honestly, while I understand that vision cards are another cost, so long as there are these 10k step-ups, and something you will note about both the Tifa as well as the Tifa vision card banner, if you are interested in getting these, they are 48 days long here on the JP side, which is a fair amount of time to get this vision card, get it maxed, and you're good to go. So yeah, taking a look at Tifa, very, very happy about it. We will be talking about Cloud in the next video, but that's all for now. Take care, and see you next time.